You're in the middle of a heated argument. Maybe it's about politics, or a movie, or the correct way to load the dishwasher. You look at the person across from you, and you are profoundly baffled. The right answer is so self-evident, there shouldn't even be a debate. Because your perspective feels undeniably obvious, your brain jumps to a harsh conclusion. You assume they are joking, that they are lying, or simply fundamentally broken. But here is the part that should keep you up at night. They are looking at you and thinking the exact same thing. Psychologists have a name for this. It is called the false consensus effect. It is a cognitive trick where your brain mistakenly convinces you that you are the baseline standard for humanity. You walk around assuming everyone else is a variation of you. And because of that assumption, minor differences in opinion morph into baffling, relationship-straining conflicts. To see how deep this delusion goes, we can look at a brilliantly simple experiment run by a social psychologist named Lee Ross. In 1977 at Stanford University, Ross asked college students a strange question. Would you be willing to walk around campus for 30 minutes wearing a large sandwich board that says, "Eat at Joe's"? The participants were given no other context. They simply had to make a choice. Predictably, they split into two camps. Some said yes, and some said no. Ross then asked them to estimate others' choices. This chart tracks the agree group. They assumed a 62% majority agreed. Now the refuse group. They thought a massive 67% sided with them. Notice the mathematical impossibility, two opposing 60% majorities. This data proves that your brain doesn't care what the actual choice is. It will automatically project your personal decision onto the rest of the population. Why does your brain do this? It comes down to a psychological mechanism called anchoring. You experience reality exclusively from one perspective, yours. You are the star of your own movie, and in that movie, your personal beliefs are the default settings for the world. When you try to estimate what others are thinking, you don't start from a blank slate. You start from your own vivid experience, and then make slight adjustments to account for others. But that adjustment consistently fails. You cannot detach from the sheer intensity of your own inner reality. Because you are trapped in that singular perspective, you mistakenly assume your internal world is the exact blueprint for everyone else's mind. The roots of this mechanism go deep into human history. For most of our existence, humans survived by living in small tribes of roughly 50 to 150 people. In that environment, the biological stakes were extreme. Agreeing on where the predators were or which plants were safe was a life or death requirement. Your brain was programmed to demand absolute consensus. Back then, disagreeing with the tribe meant isolation, and isolation meant imminent death. This drive for consensus functioned as a hardwired survival tool, keeping early human tribes unified and alive. But you don't live in a tribe of 150 anymore. You live on a planet populated by 8 billion people. You live in a hyper-connected society where you passed more strangers in a single week than your ancient ancestors met in an entire lifetime. And your brain hasn't caught up. It is still running that ancient tribal software. It is continuously attempting to force total consensus in a world where no two people share the exact same life experience. Think about what this actually means for your daily life. If the sensation that everyone is watching and agreeing with you is an illusion, then the desperate need for that consensus is also an illusion. The person who disagrees with you is the star of a different movie, standing on a stage you can't see, which means you can stop trying to win petty arguments. You can stop performing for an audience that is actually just busy worrying about their own lines. Once you realize that your ultimate personal truth is an outdated biological survival mechanism, you are finally free. Free to listen, free to be wrong, and free to accept the liberating reality of not knowing what anyone else is thinking.